In this tutorial, you will learn how to make boots in Blender 3.4. You will learn how to use mask as well as mask extract to construct shapes for the construction of boots. You will learn how to use various modifiers to enhance the look of the boots. You will learn how to use various sculpt tools to add details to the boots. You will learn how to make laces from bezier curves and then convert these curves into meshes. This tutorial is taught in a step-by-step fashion where I try to explain not just what I'm doing, but why I'm doing what I'm doing. Thanks for looking at this tutorial, and I hope that you will enjoy it. Hi, this is Ali Arango, and today I'm going to show you how to make boots in Blender 3.4. So let's get started. Okay, what you see on the screen is the result of a number of other tutorials. I'll put links in the description so that you can get to those tutorials. Okay, we're going to click here. So this is where we're going to make our boot from. I'm going to go to the hand, left click to drag that up. I'm going to roll the mouse to zoom in. We'll look at the bottom part of this object that's going to be the boot. Okay, with this object selected, we're going to go to near the top of the screen. We're going to select to go to sculpt mode. We see this object has a non-uniform transform scale, so we're going to go back to object mode. And basically what that's saying is if you have an object that has been resized or scaled in a way, it can cause issues in sculpt mode. So the way you deal with that is you hold Control, press A. This brings up this menu here, and then what you can do is go to all transforms, and then when you select this, you'll apply all transforms. So from doing that, now when I go to the upper part of the screen, then go to sculpt mode, you won't see any warnings. Okay, be aware that when we look to the right of the screen and click on the wrench, which lets us see our modifiers, we have a mirror modifier on this object as well as a subdivision surface modifier. So basically what we want to do here is we want to basically make kind of like an S shape here. So it would be like the top of the S part would be here. This would push in the kind of like the bottom part of the S would push out here. So to do that, we're going to go to the grab brush, just grab and push over. So you can imagine this being kind of like a very stretched out S, right? I'm going to push this in here, pull that out there. This should give us a basic shape for our boot. That should be good. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to go to edit mode. One of the reasons why I told you we had these modifiers on here is so you can understand that if I click here, this is what the shape actually looks like. This is actually a very simple shape. The reason I'm going to go to this hand to pan, the reason why it looks not so simple is because we have this subdivision surface modifier. This basically makes things appear that they have more geometry than they actually do. I'll click the screen to bring that back. The reason why this is good to use is like in Blender we use modifiers. There's something called destructible editing as well as non-destructible editing. Destructible editing is kind of like a way of you do something and you're locked into what you've done. Non-destructible editing is you can change things. Also, in this case, because this is so simple, so you can see like this is just one face right here. This makes it very easy for us to work with this boot. So what I'm going to do is in Blender, we're in edit mode. You manipulate objects in Blender by using vertices, edges, as well as faces. We're on face select, which you want to be on. I'll click here, and then I'll press E to extrude. I'll pull this straight up. Now, even though the leg is bending to the side, I'm making this go straight up, just thinking about us working with this as we sculpt. I'm going to press S to scale this out, so I'm scaling that face. And I'll do Control R left click to put another loop just to make this at the top here harder, right? I'll go back to face select. I'll select here. So see how there's an edge loop in here? I want to scale this down some actually, right? If I scale down, I'll just scale just its face. However, what I can do is press the O key. See this right here, this popped on, turned on. This activates something called the proportional editing tool. So now when I press S, see that loop there? Anything that I scale that's inside of that circle will get smaller. And this is useful for the, and I can roll my mouse to adjust this loop. So I'll left click. So by using this proportional editing, I was able to scale this face as well as this line here. If I didn't use that proportional editing, this loop cut wouldn't have scaled. Okay, what I'm going to do now is go to the upper part of the screen, go to object mode, right? I am going to turn off this mirror mode, or take it off. I clicked the X, so I didn't turn it off, I took it away, right? And then for this subdivision surface modifier, I'm actually going to go to this arrow, and then I'm going to apply that. Okay, with this selected, I'm going to go back to edit mode, right? I just came here because it was the quickest way to show you. So look at the faces here, right? So the faces are basically how much geometry we have. We actually have 960 triangles here, right? I'm going to go back out of here. We would like to, it would be good for us to have more for sculpting for what we want to do. So I'm going to select here. We had a subdivision surface modifier that increased geometry. That was one way of increasing it. And when we applied it, we got that 960. However, now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the multi-resolution modifier. We're going to select this subdivide, right? We'll click this once, and then we're going to take this. Oops. We can't just click there. We have to actually subdivide. Take it up to 4. That's a lot of geometry. So you won't see this when I go in. So what I'll do is I'll click here, select apply. I'll go to edit mode. And now you can see there's a lot of geometry there. Okay, so we're going to go to sculpt mode, and we have, this is over 100,000 polygons on here. One of the reasons why we wanted a lot of geometry on here was we're going to make this boot up largely from using mask, and for the mask to be fairly clean, the higher the polygon count you have. So this is our polygon count here. As far as like faces, that's where, like you can see, this is over 100,000. The more geometry, you tend to draw cleaner mask, which we're going to be using. Okay, so the first thing we want is we want a sole. So what I'm going to do is turn this to the side, right? See how this leg is getting in the way? What we can do is go to View, and then go to View Global/Local. And then what that did was that basically hid everything else but this boot. Okay, when you work in Blender, there's perspective mode and there's orthographic mode, right? So if you look to this corner, you can see this is perspective mode, right? When I move the mouse, and you can see how, like I'm holding the middle mouse button, you can see like this is moving around. That's perspective mode, right? Orthographic mode is kind of like a blueprint mode. See where we see View Global/Local and then Perspective/Orthographic. When I click this, didn't click it yet. See it says User Perspective here. I'm going to click here. Now you see this says User Orthographic. It previously said Perspective. So now that it says User Orthographic, orthographic mode tends to put things like straight on or straight to the right or to the left, like a blueprint, right? So we went to this mode to basically make things easy for us as far as selecting the mask for the sole. So when you press B in sculpt mode, you'll activate a box selected, automatically puts a mask on. So we're going to press, I have my mouse like, see the target shape kind of basically almost to the bottom of this boot shape, right? We're going to press B, left click and drag. We want pretty much just the bottom part. So now we have this whole part here selected. See that jaggedness there, slight jaggedness? Typically you can go to mask and then You would think like mask sharpen would mean like it would make the jaggedness worse, but it tends to make things not as sharp, at least how it looks to me, right? So now with that, right, that mask there, what we're going to do is we're going to go to mask and then mask extract. We're going to keep this as default and then select OK. Okay, so basically what happened is that mask that we had was made into its own object. And then what Blender did was once it made this into its own object, right, this mask, it brought us out of the sculpt mode for this object, and we're just in object mode with this selected. It also put on this geometry, this solidify mode, right? So what we're going to do is make this thicker. So we're going to go to the thickness, right? We're actually going to go like to the left, which is negative, which might seem strange to you, but we're going to do that to make we're making ourselves basically a soul. I think that looks decent. Okay, the main part of this boot is basically going to be made up of 4 different objects made from 4 different masks. We're going to click here on this main object. We're going to go to sculpt mode. We were already in local mode, or still in it in a sense. We're going to select it again. Whoops. Okay, that brought us out. There we go. Now we're back into local mode. So we clicked this. It brought us. We were in local mode. It brought us like out into like the regular where everything's else at. We clicked it again. Now we see just the boot, right? So this is the mask that that object was made from. We'll hold Alt-M to get rid of that mask. We don't need it anymore. Okay, for what we're going to do here, basically, there's a bunch of different ways to draw masks. Remember I said we need 4 masks. We're making the first one here. All right, so this is the, wait a second. This is the mask brush right here. It's, for what we're trying to do here, we basically want the mask to go through. So this brush will pretty much draw on whatever you're seeing. So if I drew with the brush here, the mask brush, I would draw on this side but not the other side, right? So that's why that's not ideal in this situation. If you look to here, this is the box mask, right? The box mask will draw like through an entire side, which is good. However, we're going to left click and then select lasso mask, right? So now we can left click and drag and we'll draw a lasso shape. Now if you hold Control and Shift, you also will get the lasso mask. Like it's a shortcut for the lasso mask. Okay, I'm going to hold the middle mouse button, look at this side. This looks off. I'm going to go to the mask brush here. Go to strength near the top and select 2. The strength was 0.5. I just changed that to 2. I'm going to press F to shrink my brush, and then I'm going to kind of manually draw in what I think is on the other side. It looks pretty good to me. I want to put a line straight down here. I can manually draw this, right? Or if I go to stroke, I can see where it says stroke method. This space here is what we see. I can click here and I see all these options here, right? Instead of going there, I can press the E key. This will bring up this option. I'm going to go to line, and then with that line, I can left click and drag. See that dotted line? And wherever I drag, you can see that this, the mask was drawn like that. It's very useful. Okay, I'm going to roll the mouse wheel to zoom back. I'm going to press B for box select this top part here. I'm going to go to the side. I don't want this here selected. So what I'm going to do is hold Control I to invert the mask. I'm going to press B for box select. So now when I invert back, I won't have this selected anymore. So I'll hold Control, press I. So what I want now is I'm going to press B to have this here. And then what I'll do now is I'll hold Control, press I again. Actually, it was confusing myself before. So this black part is the part that I want to have its own solid. I'm going to hold Control, press I. Control, press I. So I don't want this here. Control I. Apologize. So I'll select this whole bottom part. Control I. There we go. And then now with that done, we'll go to mask, sharpen mask, mask extract. We'll take away this extracted solid, select OK. Okay, with that done, we'll go to add modifier. We'll put a solidify modifier on here. You want to go backwards, which to me always seems often seems strange anyway. This is the outline here. We'll scroll down. This is this being this right here that I have selected. You can tell it's selected because it has this orange highlight around it. It's currently named mesh.004. I'll double click this, name this M1, short for mesh 1. Okay, I'm going to go to the outliner, select the eye to hide that. I'll select this, go to sculpt mode, hold Alt, press M to get rid of the mask. I'll press B for box select, not come all the way down to the bottom. I'll hold Control I. Press B for box select. There we go. Control I to invert. We'll go to mask, mask sharpen, and then mask extract. Take away this extracted solid, select OK. We'll add a, you know what, we'll leave this be. We'll add the modifier, the thickness later. We actually can do that all at once. What we are going to do is double click on this and name this M2. Okay, I'll select to hide that. I'll click back on the main mesh, go back to sculpt mode. Here in sculpt mode, I'm going to hold Alt, press M to get rid of the mask. We're in orthographic mode, so we'll select perspective / orthographic, hopefully to make this easier to work with. I'm going to hold Control, hold Shift. This is a shortcut for lasso select mask, right? So what I'm doing is coming down like this. I'm going to try to dodge the bottom. See if that worked. Looks like it did work. Go slightly higher. So then we'll go mask, mask, sharpen. Take a look at the other side. Okay, we'll go mask, extract. This is already unchecked, which is the extracted solid. We'll select OK. Okay, we can look in the outliner and see this is selected. So we'll click here and we'll name this M3. We'll hide that as well. We'll select here. We'll go back to sculpt mode. We'll hold Alt and press M to get rid of that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is hold Control, hold Shift. We won't go all the way to the bottom. Bring this forward like this. And bring this up like that. See, we missed that part right there. Okay, so we'll go to mask. Mask extract. Take away this extracted solid. Select OK. And then we'll double click here and name this M4. We'll then hide that. Okay, what we're going to do now is go to our M1, unhide this, right? We have our thickness on here, right? There we go. So now we're selected on M1 so we can see the options here. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a bevel modifier. We're going to look to the bevel options here. to get to the modifiers, you click the wrench. Looks like a wrench to me. Anyway, we'll take the segments up to 2. We'll go back up to the top. We'll select smooth. The smooth modifier. We'll change this factor to 1. We'll take this repeat up. See how this looks nicer now with that? So watch what happens when I take that away. Say. One of the things you can do in Blender that's neat is we can unhide our other pieces of the boot. We'll select them. And then with them selected, I'm holding Shift. As I selected them, that allowed me to select more than one. So now I'll select here, last, right? So now what I'll do is hold Control, press L, and then this link/transfer data menu pops up. And then what I'll do is I will select copy modifiers. And now you can see they being the different pieces, all got solidify, bevel, and I'll show you, like I'll click here. You can see they all have it. So we were able to add all the modifiers without having to do it individually. Okay, now this heel needs to be thicker. So what we'll do is we'll go to, with this selected, we'll increase the thickness on it. Pretty easy to do. This here we actually want to be pushed behind this, right? And the reason why is this is basically, think of this as being like the tongue, if you will, of the boot. So what we'll do with this is, with this selected on, we'll go to sculpt mode. We'll go to the blob brush, and then we'll hold Control. And what this is doing is this is making us push this in. So what we're trying to do is make this be pushed in to the point where it looks like it's behind this other piece right here. I'm letting go of Control because actually some of this to come out. Okay, this here, I want this to be thicker. I'm going to go back to object mode, select here, go to solidify, make this thicker. I don't want this to come that far over. So with this, what we'll do is we'll go to, go back to layout. That was these modes up here, by the way, if you're confused, like what just happened. I clicked here instead of clicking here, all right? So what I'm going to do with this is I'm actually going to get rid of this piece in a sense. And what I can do to do that is this, this line project. So what I can do is drag like this, and see how that gray part to the left is fading out? What Blender will do is it'll flatten the geometry there. I'll do it on this side. See how it's going the direction I don't want? What I can do is I should be able to press F to flip it. Flattens it on the other side as well. Okay, I'm going to go to the draw brush. When you hold Control, you go in instead of out. So I'm pressing F to change the size of my brush. Now I'm holding Control and dragging down the edge here. I let go, held the middle mouse button. Now I'm holding Control again. I did that just to turn. Pushing this tongue to make it look like it's behind here. Okay, so we have our pieces. So now we need to make these pieces look better. So I'm going to go to object mode, select here, go back to sculpt mode, with this draw brush, not holding control. I'm going along the edge here. What I'm doing is I'm purposely puffing out the edge here. Puffing out where it's basically this would be making contact with other pieces. I'm going to shrink my brush, not too much. Go along the edge here. Holding the mouse button, go to the other side. One of the things as you're doing stuff like this, there's multiple ways of doing it. You need to pick, or you don't need, it's good to pick which way you would like to do things. I tend to think of speed though, not always. I don't always do things for speed. Generally though. You can also hold shift to smooth. Okay, we'll zoom back, see like how the bottom of this is here. We'll go to view global / local. We'll go to object mode, select here. We'll increase the thickness of this to bring this out, past here. There's no dot here. Like when I click to move this, you don't see any arrows to help move. The reason for that is the origin point isn't quite right. So we'll go to set origin, origin to geometry. Here's the origin point. Now we can see our arrows. Okay, so now with our arrow scene, we can push this up some. And that dealt with a lot of this stuff kind of like right there. I'm going to click here, go back to sculpt mode, run draw. I'm going to hold control as well as the middle mouse button to zoom in. I did that instead of a regular mouse zoom in because it gives you a smoother zoom. So if I roll the mouse, see how it jumps, it being blender. If I hold control and then push while holding control of the middle mouse, I get this smooth zoom. So I'm going to this edge here. Be aware that your mouse, at least how I have mine set up, it doesn't, when I change the, I'm holding the middle mouse button to rotate, when I change the size of the brush, it doesn't, the size of the brush doesn't change when I zoom in and zoom out. Here. I'll smooth this out some. I'm going to go to here, go back to scope mode, still in the draw brush. Pretty much same deal. Probably better to avoid going right over the ends. So close, but not, I would say, right to the end. You can hold shift. Shift automatically activates Blender's sculpting smooth brush to smooth out. I'm going to go back to object mode, then select here, go back to sculpt mode. Okay, we're still in the draw brush. I'm going to press F to increase the size of my brush. Pretty much wherever there is a piece of cloth going next to another piece of cloth, that's what we're doing here. As far as like making this puffy, I'm going to hold control. Was middle mouse button to get a smoother pan back. I press F to decrease the size of my brush. I'm going to try to not go over the edge, which I'm talking about right there. I'm going to press F to decrease the size of my brush again. I want this to be thicker. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to go to object mode. We're going to turn on snapping. I'm going to hold shift and then right click. I did that to put the 3D cursor right here, right? Now what I'm going to do is hold shift, press A. I'm going to go to mesh, torus, right? We have this. When we bring in an object, we see major segments 48, major segments 12. We don't need that many, so I'm going to change this to 20. I'll change this to 10. And then with that done, I'm going to press R to rotate on the x-axis 9, 0. Left click to lock in. I'll press S to scale. What I want is about 5 of these going down. The reason why we put on snapping is that when we brought this in, this is snapped right to the surface. So that's why we did that. Sorry about that popping in and out. If you use this zoom here, you left click drag up, left click drag down, you can kind of eliminate that popping. When I say popping, I'm talking about the zooming in and out, like too much almost. I'm going to right click, select shade smooth for that torus. Okay, I'm going to press R to rotate on the Z axis like this. Press S to shrink this down. Some more. Now I'm going to press and hold shift, then press D, then left click. So I duplicated that object there. Okay, with this object duplicate, I'm going to turn off snapping. If I didn't turn on off snapping, the snapping would kind of make things take control away from me. Because this is already snapped to the surface, when we push down, the second object will still, for the most part, be on the surface. So we'll push down to about there. We're going to hold shift, press D, left click. That. Pretty sure, and I see how this is in. I'm pretty sure we can turn this back on. Press G. Okay, that didn't work. I'll turn this off. Push this slightly forward. You can press R twice to rotate. Free rotation it's called. I'm going to hold shift, press D, right click. So it stays in place. Push this down like this. Push this forward, up. Let's try the snapping again. Okay, we'll come back to that. I'm going to hold shift, press D, left click. Oh, snapping's on, that's why. You can turn this off. Push that down. If we go to the side, see how far back that is, right? If we go, we kind of like aim from the front, select snapping, turn it on, press G. And now, oh, look at that, it did, okay. So it's not snapping to the front. So manually put this towards the front. I'm going to press R twice to rotate this. R twice gives you that free rotation. Select here, R twice. Rotating it pretty much to, sorry. There we go. Hold the middle mouse button, rotate. Okay, with that done, we'll select here. Hold shift, select here, 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 here. Holding shift and pressing D to duplicate. I'm going to right click to get those duplicates to stay right in place. I'm going to go to a front view. And then I'm going to left click to drag these duplicates right over. I'm going to zoom in, select here. I'm going to press R to rotate on the Z axis. That. Basically trying to get this to not be pushed in side of, so these toruses to be pushed into the mesh there. Press R to rotate on the Z axis here. R to rotate on the Z axis there. R to rotate on the Z axis there. R to rotate on the Z axis there. I'm gonna, oh, that's annoying. Hold them in the mouse button to rotate. I'm going to change the snapping to vertex so that it was on increment. Select this, press G. So this is like up, like, see how this is like off the boot, right? From the front, it looks like it's on. So I should be able to select here, press G, left click. Okay, not, didn't work. Or to rotate on the Z axis. Ooh, that jumping is annoying. Here. Try to rotate on the Z axis. Or to rotate on the Z axis. This one actually looks like it's pretty decent. Too close to the edge here, so I'm sliding this over. These I think are decent. Okay, what we're going to do now is we have the 3D cursor still here, which is good. We're going to hold shift to press A. We're going to go to curve. We're going to bring in a bezier curve, which you can see right there. Okay, with the bezier curve selected, I'm going to press S, shrink that down some. I'm then going to look to the panel to the right, look down, looks like cables or curves, which is good. We want to click this. See this geometry tab? You're going to click the arrow to expand that. You're going to scroll down more. Okay, so it wasn't geometry, it's actually, is it? Okay, yeah, it is, the bevel. So you're looking for the bevel. You're going to take this up to 0.1. Okay, I'm going to go back to edit mode. I guess that brought me automatically out of edit mode. I'm going to select this dot here, right? So this right here, this should be the handles allows to adjust this. This right here, I'm pretty sure is where I select to extrude this, and that's what we want. So what we're going to do is hold control and then, oops, hold control, right click, there we go. So I'm going to dodge this hole here, right click, dodge this here, right click, down to here, and then for here I'm going straight across. Then I'm going back up. Okay. Okay, if we turn the view to the side, we probably see that these laces are pretty far away from these circles, which they're supposed to go through. It looks like that they're, from this view for the most part, it looks like they're where they should be. They probably aren't. I don't want to turn the view because this is a good view to work from. So what I'm going to do is turn on snapping, select these dots, press G, G, that circle you see is proportional editing. I'm going to turn that off because I don't need that. That allows you to move more one vertex edge at a time, just so you know what it is. Anyway, I'm going to click here, press G, press G, press G, press G, press G, press G. I did that here. Press G, press G. Okay, I think I'm good for now. Okay, what we're going to do now is make things look like they're actually going through the holes. So when I click this dot, you see that right there, how these handles come up? So if I press R to rotate on the Z axis, so here this comes forward, which is good. So I guess we'll focus first on getting these to come forward. So I'll press R to rotate on the Z axis. R to rotate on the Z axis. I moved this because I wanted this to be not intersecting there. Or rotate on the Z axis. Nope. Y. X. Not giving me what I want. Or rotate on the. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm pressing R to rotate. When I press Y, I press R, right? Then I press Y. Blender will automatically switch to a rotation axis. So right now I believe I'm on the Y axis. So without pressing R again, I press Z. It lets me switch to another axis. You hear me saying that. So I'll click here, press R, then I pressed Y. Click here, press R, Z. Click here. RZ, click here. Click here. You can also here, so I'll turn this, right? I can manually, the snapping's on, I'll right click. Turn off snapping. I can manually push this forward. X. Put it on the Y-axis. I'm pushing axes pretty quickly to see what will basically give me what I want. Okay, when I come to this screen, zoom in, select the hand. I roll the mouse wheel to zoom in. Select the hand to pan. Okay, to see better here, we can go to this toggle X-ray. Push this way forward. We'll push this down. Bring that back some. I'll select here. Push this down. I'll select here. Press R to rotate on the Z axis. Good. I'm using this to see what's going on, basically. Or rotate on the z-axis. There we go. I'm going to take the hand pan up. I select here. Yeah. Looking over here. Trying to get that to stand out basically. So now try to take this, press R to rotate on the z-axis. That on it. It's frustrating me how it. Let's see. Okay. Sorry, my brain is thinking hard here. It's a lot of this is pushing and pulling and seeing what makes this look fairly decent. It's pretty good. Yeah, there's just one loop there. Sorry for just working here. My brain is there we go. Trying hard to get through that. Okay, I'm going to go up and turn off the X-ray. All right, what we want to do now is let's go to object mode, select here. I'm going to go to right mode. I'm going to press S to scale on the Z-axis here to make that somewhat thicker. Sorry. And the reason why I did that is I want to go to sculpt mode. Okay, I have that warning. So to get rid of the warning, take object deform, I hold control, press A, select all transforms. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply that solidify modifier. I'm going to go back to sculpt mode. Here in sculpt mode, I'm going to go to where is it at? Oh, here we go. Line project. Go across here like this. So basically what this tool does, it flattens geometry. So I want to flatten out that. My brain is escaping the bottom part right here. See that? I think it looks a lot better being flat. And what we should be able to do is go here to object mode. The reason why we can't see the handles is probably because we need to go to object, set origin to geometry. We should be able to push that down. Okay. So I'm going to click here. It's bezier curve. I'm going to name this laces. Press enter. I'm going to press H to hide that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select here. Let me make this outliner up. I have this first piece. I'm going to select apply all. This back piece, apply all. This piece here, apply all. I'm going to select here, select apply all. And now with that done, I'm going to select here, hold shift, select here, here, then select this last. Now I'm going to let go of shift, hold control, press J. What I did was I just joined off those objects together. Okay, with those objects joined together, I'm going to add a smooth modifier. I'm going to go to the factor, change this to 1. And we'll take this up. And basically what I'm looking for, I'm trying to smooth out things like this, like that edge there. You hold control, hold the middle mouse button to zoom in. Take this up. So I want it still there, so let's select this. Yeah. Makes things a lot more subtle. Too subtle. Take this down to 25. Take a look here. Okay. So I'm going to, oops, I'm going to click this arrow and select apply to apply that. I'm going to select these pieces here, holding shift. Letting go of shift, I'm going to hold control, hold control, press J. So now they're all joined together. I'm going to left click to deselect. Okay, I'm going to go to where they at. Let's say I'm looking for the laces. There we go. For the laces, with this selected on, I'm going to go to here. I click here. I'm checking out how much geometry there is in the laces. I'm going to go off of there. With this selected, I'm going to go to Object, Convert, Convert to Mesh. So now when I click on this, you don't see that there's a curve anymore on it. Like curve, when I look over here, there was a curve option before. Okay, now that this curve is converted to a mesh with this selected, we'll go to the upper left, go to edit mode. I'm going to hold control, hold the middle mouse button to zoom in. Look right here. That is proportional editing. It's great because it's turned off. We'll press the O key to turn it on. It's turned on now. If I click here, these are the options for it. This is connected only. The way the proportional editing tool works is it allows you to move more than one vertice, edge, or face at a time, right? I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to rotate. I'm going to hold Alt. Well, before I do that, I'm going to go to Edge Select. Now I'm holding Alt. I'm going to select this edge. Oops, wrong button. Hold Alt. There we go. And hopefully you can see I grabbed that whole loop there. Because I grabbed that whole loop, press G, there's the circle showing proportional editing. So when I roll my mouse, I can increase the size of that, or decrease it in this case. So I'm going to push this so it goes in the loop. There we go. Good. Go to the next loop, hold Alt, left click. I'll hold the middle mouse button and I rotate. And then I can press R to rotate on the X-axis. Good. I'll take the hand to pan. Go to this loop here, still on edge select. I'll hold the Alt key, select the loop, push this down, or to rotate on the X-axis. Go to this loop, hold Alt, this up, push this over. Okay, I'm going to go to object mode. I'm going to select these loops. We missed these ones. I'm going to hold shift, select loop. Select here, select the loop there. Select the loop there. Hold control, press J. So these are all one object. I'll left click on nothingness, deselect. I'm going to go to this window and zoom back. What we're going to do now is we're going to select these laces. We're going to go to this, looks like the wrench, add a mirror modifier, right? Mirror modifier makes this go right here by the 3D cursor. What we're going to do is go to the mirror object, select here, select the pants, and now we can see that's on the other side. So now what we're going to do is we're going to select here, hold shift, select here, select the loops. And then last, we're going to select the laces. We just put the mirror modifier on. I'm letting go of shift. Now I'm going to hold control, press L. And then this link / transfer data comes up. I'm going to select copy modifiers. Okay, so what we did is first we put the mirror modifier on here. Then we selected all the other objects. We selected this last. When we selected this last, that made this the active object. Because this was the active object and that active object had a mirror modifier on here, when we pressed Control L and then we went to the menu and selected copy modifiers, all of the other objects with the copied what was the active object, which is these laces. That's why they all got mirrored to the other side, all the objects. Okay, one of the reasons why we then join all objects together is this, as well as the loops. When we most likely go to remesh this, we don't want to be concerned about working with the resolution of the loops as well as the laces with the boots. So for now, it's better to keep them separate. That being said, we'll select, actually we can press C for paint select. Can we do that? Yes, we can. All right, but not working quite that well. So we'll select our different pieces. The reason why we're selecting the different pieces, we did not get this, I believe, to mirror. So I'm going to select that, hold shift. This is the makes up the back of the boot. I'm going to select these laces, hold control, press L, and then select copy modifier. So now that's on the other side. So now with that, well, we'll select here, hold shift, select that, laces, this, oops, and this. The reason why we're doing this is so that we can push these boots over. We'll use this menu more. So one of the advantages of having a mirror object is you can push objects towards each other like we just did. Okay, what we're going to do is left click. We're going to select the pants. We have a multi-resolution modifier on here. We're going to select apply all. We're going to go into the scope mode of the pants. We're going to go to this line project. Line project flattens geometry. However, it makes things look like they're being cut. It doesn't. It flattens geometry. So what I'm going to do is left click and drag like this. If I wanted to flip that gray area, what's in the gray area, by the way, is going to be flattened to make it look like it's cut. If I press F, it will go the opposite direction. I don't want that, so I'm going to let go. Okay, when I look here, I can see this coming out there. So what I'm going to do is go to Object, hide that. For this, I'm going to go to sculpt mode, make sure I have the X symmetry turned on, press F. I'm going to go to the elastic deform. I'll turn on X-ray. Just move that inside. I'll turn off. Can I click? Yeah, I can just click it, turn off. Push that in some there. I'll go back to object mode, hold Alt, press H, left click on nothingness to deselect, select the hand to pan down. I'm going to zoom up. Take a look at the boots. So yeah, I like how they turned out. I think the boots, the lace tends to add a lot to characters. Okay, I hope you learned how to make I think a decent way of making boots. I like the general outcome of it. You spend more time, you'll get better results. Hopefully this taught you the basics, what you need to know to make a decent pair of boots. Okay guys, that's it for the tutorial. For all of those of you out there who like the videos on this channel and reshare them, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And for those of you who are new to this channel, if you like the videos on this channel, you would like to see more, please subscribe, and thank you for viewing.